Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Peace Fund with Ethan Dettenmaier and Adrian Paul, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Good morning. Well, actually, it is a good morning, but unfortunately, Ethan Dettenmaier is lost in traffic. He has had a breakdown, and AAA is now rushing to his aid with a spanner and a battery or whatever else it needs to recharge him or the car to come back and join us on Peace Fund Radio. So this morning, I actually have in the studio Bev Shihara. Good morning, Bev. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine.
Is this your first radio show?
No, I've been here before, but
Yeah,
not
true.
with you running the controls.
Yeah, I get to run the controls this morning. Ethan's going to come in and go, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm pushing this button and that one. What's this one do?" I have no idea. But yeah, so he's not here this morning. I'm going to be bringing on John Bierly soon when he's coming in. But we've got a lovely show for you this morning. We've been pretty busy. Bev's in. What are you doing in Los Angeles, Bev?
Well, I came here for the Comic-Con that you're doing this weekend.
Right.
Help with that, and then we've just got so much to do that it's just easier to
be here, right?
To be here and try to get these events squared away a little. We're just kind of overwhelmed right now, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, just slightly. I mean, we've got the Peace Fund Poker. The site is just going up. We're just doing tweaks on it. It's an amazing site, guys, and it's actually an interactive site that you guys can take part in. We will have all the details of that at the end of the show. It's going to have the rules. There's a few tweaks that we still have to do with it. It's going to be called peacefundpoker.org. You probably look at it now and you'll go, "Oh no, this doesn't work. That doesn't work." Yes, it doesn't work. Not yet. And there are some explanations on the site still to be clarified, but we were doing that by the end of the day or by tomorrow. Peace Fund Poker is going to be in conjunction with Microsoft, and we are actually going to be taking it. We're raising money for Wellspring Hope. And do you want to actually, because you know Wellspring Hope, you've been actually talking to them recently.
I have. Wellspring Hope, they actually operate in the poorest country in the world, which is Niger in West Africa. And they drill wells. And not only do they drill the wells, but they bring the sanitation in, and they're there on the ground. They're there. They report on the wells. They ensure sustainability, because a lot of times some of these organizations will go in and dig a well and then they leave, and so everything falls apart. So it takes a lot of training and educating to get the people to use these things that they have, the clean water, the sanitation, to prevent all these waterborne diseases that kill. A waterborne disease kills a child every 15 seconds, and in this area,
that's amazing.
It's
15 seconds.
It's just amazing. So,
it's something we take for granted every single day, that we turn the taps on, we get a bottle of water,
and then you walk away,
exactly,
and let it run.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
It's not cold
I'm guilty
enough,
of that,
or it's not hot enough. So
yeah, I know. I mean, we actually the tournament we're actually going to be doing is going to be down at the Microsoft headquarters. They have very generously partnered with us, and there are going to be others. There's quite a few celebrities we already have. We're garnering a lot more. But the fun part about this is that you can actually sponsor a celeb to go through the tournament. So you can actually donate money to watch them fail or succeed. And now, this is a Microsoft employee tournament only, plus celebrities, just so that you know. However, anybody can actually get a Microsoft employee to go through the little fun things that we're going to actually make them do. So if you're a Microsoft employee out there, we're going to have some disguises and makeups you could get your boss to actually wear for if you wanted to see them live or in photos that we will take and then post on our Facebook site, because we've just opened up Peace Fund Poker Facebook, haven't we, Beb?
Yes, we did. I'm working on Twitter. It's almost there, but the Facebook is open. There's nothing there yet, but there will be. I've got somebody on it. So
right, and we've actually been so busy with everything that has been going with the paintball situation, which is problematic, but we will sort that out very shortly. The people we're getting on board are amazing, which is great. I mean, and the site's looking great. There are some logistical issues we're still trying to work out right now, but we've been dealing with that. So the poker event, which is now 1 month away, just over 1 month away, we are now going to be, working very diligently on getting all the information out there for you to know what's going on with the poker event. We also have the event called the Stop Tour, which you can actually sort of find out online. The Stop Tour is actually run by Eric Zuli, who's actually going to be our host at the Peace Fund Games, and you can watch it out at Eric Zuli's show. It's the Easy Way. Sorry, Easy Way. Yes, Easy Way. How could I forget that? Easy Way. And WTV. Those are the places that you can actually find out about that. The Stop Tour is actually a tour to stop bullying, and a lot of the proceeds are going towards schools and to stop bullying. But also, the beneficiary is one of the beneficiaries is the Peace Fund for us to actually initiate some of the programs we have. On top of that, we are today in the process of populating our Peace Fund Hub Yammer site. So we have so much going on. It's kind of overwhelming, as you said, Bev, and we've gotten some great people coming in. We've got project managers that are going to be dealing with it. We've got web designers coming on board. And I want to thank MBBL also, who are a fantastic organization. If you ever have any ticketing issues out there, guys, that is the company that I really recommend. They have done a great job at handling the logistics on putting together the paintball and the poker sites. They've done the poker sites, which look pretty good. I mean, I'll be interested to hear your comments on that. But they also did the Peace Fund Games site, and they're handling all the ticketing and the logistics of the situation. So check them out. This morning we want to talk about protecting your kids. It's in the news right now. Enterovirus D68. The Enterovirus D68 basically is overwhelming hospitals in the Midwest. Many parents are wondering how they can protect their kids, and stories and photos in recent days of children in intensive care units hooked up to oxygen and IV drips as a result of the illness are enough to scare even the calmest mom or dad. The outbreak of the virus, you looked at this, Bev.
Yes, I did.
Sick of more than 1,000 children across 10 states in the Midwest. 12 states are reporting clusters of enterovirus illness. Alabama, Colorado, Michigan, Georgia, Ohio, Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Kentucky, and Utah. The current outbreak involves one of 100 different types of enteroviruses, a virus related to common cold. Many children and adults are becoming sick with the virus, may not know they have it because the virus sometimes presents with mild symptoms. Children who have ended up in the emergency rooms most likely have some type of underlying respiratory problem, such as asthma. I can't talk this morning because I'm going a mile a minute. The most important thing to pick up on is any difficulty breathing. So any of you that live in these states or anybody else, just check your kids out a little bit for this. Wheezing or cough that just won't stop. These are warning signs, and parents should have a low threshold for heading to the hospital with that because it can be serious. As with other viruses, we can reduce their risk from contracting Enterovirus D68 through frequent hand washing. Do you do that a lot? I mean, it really bugs me when I go to the bathroom and I watch a guy come out the bathroom and just walk straight out the door. I'm like, dude, didn't you
wash
just
your hands?
I'm like, some people go, no, I wash before I handle my pots. But I'm
all
like,
the time.
I take my kids in to wash their hands and I'm like, don't touch anything, don't look at anything, don't breathe anything.
I think that's a little extreme.
No, I'm joking. I mean, but I do. When I go into a bathroom, I wash my hands, I keep the cloth, and I handle the cloth
to open the door.
To open the door, and because that's where you're going to get a lot of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, especially from the ones that don't wash their hands that are on the way out.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Yes.
This virus, the Enterovirus D68, is relatively hardy and can live on surfaces for some time. So it's important to use hand sanitizers and frequently disinfect communal surfaces such as tabletops and doorknobs to avoid germs from spreading, since the incubation period can be as long as a week. Wow.
Yeah, it
can
does.
sit there for a week.
Yeah, which is why it's gotten so out of control, I think. So I was reading that the CDC expects it to just it's not easy to contain because kids go to school and this is where they pick it up. Since the incubation period is a week, a child you may not know that your child is a carrier for, but he's just spreading it around. So I mean, it's just it started, I think, in Chicago.
In Chicago, oh my God, my daughter's there at the moment.
a city in Missouri.
I'll have to talk to my wife. I'll say, wife,
those were the two cases where the CDC has actually diagnosed it, and the other states called the CDC to have testing done in their states too, because they suspect the same thing, and it's probably. But it's popped up all in the Philippines. I think the first time it popped up was actually in California in 1962. And so it's come and gone. So it would be California.
It's like anything, the common cold comes and goes.
Right.
And it can stay. Actually, I heard, and again, you guys can prove me wrong out there, that the actual the common cold was brought over from China through birds, and it was dried birds, dead birds on the backs of camels that came across to Arabia, and then when they were dried out, when the water hit them again, when they were put in, the virus came alive again. So it actually incubates in this. So I might be wrong in that. So this might have the same type of.
That's interesting. I've never heard that.
Well, it could have the same type of problem there regarding that. I'm just looking at something here that says, I think you've actually had, it goes from even teenagers, from everybody else, and adults as well. I'm just trying to see there are very many different strains of enterovirus, and I'm just looking here, at the CDC says many hospitals can test for enteroviruses, but they are probably not able to perform enterovirus typing. State health departments or CDC can be approached for typing. Unlike the measles or other so-called reportable diseases, physicians do not have to report enterovirus illnesses to county health authorities because they are so common and there is no vaccine to prevent them. So remember that there is no vaccine to prevent them. It is out there, so just be careful.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. It's a very simple thing. John Bierly, I think, is on the phone with us at the moment. Are you there?
Good morning, Adrian, Ethan, and Beverly.
No, Ethan.
No,
Ethan. No,
Ethan.
He deserted us.
Adrian Paul on the mic and on the controls at the moment, so I can mute you if you're ready.
He got it.
You could. This is exciting. We always talk about on the show. We mentioned Beverly's contribution on the show a lot, but there is not enough that can be said about how much work and research she does behind the scenes to make the show work every week.
It's not only this show, though, John. The thing is, I'm working with her. Somebody's unknown phone number calling. I wonder who that is. Well, somebody's calling. I wonder if that's Ethan.
There's only one way to find out.
Well, we could call into the show. Let's find out. Hello, you're on Peace Fun Radio.
Hello,
you're on Peace Fun Radio. Who's this?
Dorothy.
I think you have the wrong number. Oh well, that didn't work, did it? John Bierly. I think we're going to get John back. Hello, John. Are you there?
I am, yes. I was on hold for a second, I think.
You were, actually. I think I was supposed to be able to join both of you. But anyway, the funny thing was that somebody went, hello? I think it was the wrong number. I'm going to love that. This is what you got, live radio, real facts.
That's right. The Adventure Begins. It's right here every week, every Wednesday.
No, but I was actually talking about Bev a second ago. I was working in the office yesterday with Bev at the Peace Fund office here, and we had some issues. We have to, there are things that need to be done with the poker stuff. The rules have to be sorted out. There's certain things to be done. And Bev says, well, I'll take it on. No, I'll take it on. I'm like, Bev, stop taking on all these projects, please. Because we've got plenty of, I know you Bev is the person who handles all the departments in the Peace Fund. And so I don't, need any more work to be put on Bev, but she does tirelessly work on this and on all the other departments. So I want to thank you, Bev, for doing that, because I think you're awesome.
Peace Fund does
absolutely
wonderful things.
Well, we're also, we had a very generous donation just recently.
Wow,
also, it was a fantastic donation. I'll bring that up in a second. I just wanted to ask John before I do that. So, enterovirus, did you hear the states that I actually mentioned it was in, John?
I did, and a lot of these are right in my backyard. I'm in southern Indiana. I'm a stone's throw away. I'm right in southern Indiana. I'm a stone's throw away from the Ohio River in Louisville, Kentucky. So Ohio, Kentucky, Illinois. Those are the surrounding states of where I live. So this is obviously. Well,
I hope you've washed your hands before you throw that stone, John.
I always do.
Just checking, no, this is seriously, because that's an interesting thing. Do you watch a lot of people not wash their hands when they go through to the bathrooms or pick stuff up?
Oh, it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. I see it all the time. Yeah. This drives me nuts.
The funny thing is it younger or older generations?
I don't know. I think young kids tend to do a better job of washing their hands because they've been taught to do that. I think maybe sometimes as people get a little bit older, they're like, whatever, I've survived this long.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need to do that. But yeah, I do see it a lot. It does. It drives me nuts. I mean, I feel like it's a responsibility. I mean, be thoughtful and be aware of the people around you, and be thoughtful about the health of the people around you. If you take care of your health, you're going to be healthy, which obviously is a good benefit. But the people around you are going to be healthy too. It's so easy.
Yeah, it's an easy process to do. Well, okay, so let's go back to the donation. Deborah Ash, thank you so much for your very, very generous donation to the Peace Fund. That is awesome. You actually donated back in 2005, I think it was, or 2007. So I want to thank you again. So I want to thank all of you that donate because it's very important.
Deb has been a long-time supporter of the Peace Fund. Thank you so much, Deb.
And we'd also like to thank, a little belatedly, Bill Bozzard, who made a large donation to one of our orphans.
Yes,
Martin Malbranch, one of our orphans in Promise 1 in 26 program in Mercy and Sharing. He's in the orphanage there. He's a cute little boy. Yeah, and there are still other kids we're still supporting there, and we're hoping that some of these... some of the events that we have will be helping. Some of the other funds we have will actually help some of the other kids we're actually looking after or trying to raise money for. I want to get onto the subject of the day right now: HIV and AIDS. It's been nearly 30 years into the HIV/AIDS pandemic, and the number of children with HIV continues to grow. Without treatment, an estimated 1/3 of infants living with HIV will die before their first birthday, and half will die before their second birthday.
Ugh.
This doesn't have to happen. When a mother has access to enteroviral therapy, the chance of HIV transmission is virtually zero. Prevention of mother-to-child transmission is the most effective way to create an HIV-free generation. Why give it to your kids? You need to really be noticeable of that. Now, I understand that sometimes, it comes from drug use and other things.
Yeah, there are other issues, but 90% of the transmission comes from in children. 90% of them get it from their mother.
It's kind of scary, I mean, that's I watch shows now. I mean, what was the one that just won the Oscar? Not won the Oscar. Was nominated for the Oscar.
With Matthew
McConaughey, yes.
Dallas Buyers
Club. Yeah.
Which was a great... I mean,
see, John, I knew something.
You did. You got it out before I did.
I'm impressed here. I'm impressed. The Dallas Buyers Club was, it really highlighted, the things that we... Knowledge is power, and if you don't know what is going on, you become scared of it. And looking at that, everybody was scared of the people that had HIV, or when at the very beginning they had no idea what it was and how to treat it and how to handle it, and it just became a label that you actually gave people of a certain gender or sexual persuasion. So today, I think it's very important to be informed of the facts. And here are some right now. Global facts. There is an estimated 35 million people living with HIV in 2013, and 3.34 million of these were children. The vast majority of people living with HIV are in low and middle income countries. Of the 3.34 million children living with HIV, most, about 97%, live in sub-Saharan Africa and were infected by their HIV-positive mothers during pregnancy, childbirth, or breastfeeding. One of the reasons why we actually want to partner with, an organisation like Wellspring Hope for our poker event is because they work in an area that is very poor. When you do not have these facilities like fresh water, it affects the rest of your entire existence in that community. You cannot work, you cannot feed your children, therefore all the things that you do are affected by not having clean water. That's one of the reasons we want to support Wellspring Hope. And we actually do have Mr. Garcetti coming in this morning Not this morning, in 2
24th.
weeks.
Yeah, the
Sorry,
24th.
the 24th to talk to us about it. Who started Wellspring Hope? He's the father of our mayor, Gil Garcetti. I just want to actually talk about. I'm going to be asking him a lot of questions why he did it and what the effects are. So tune in on that show. Many of the countries hardest hit by HIV also suffer from other infectious diseases like AIDS and malaria, food insecurity, and lack of proper water and sanitation, like I just mentioned. HIV is the world's leading infectious killer. It is the strongest risk factor for developing active tuberculosis disease. Worldwide, 1/3 of the deaths of people with AIDS is directly due to TB. So let's just talk a little bit. It's a resounding, sobering type of thought. This mother-to-child transmission. You did all this research, Bev.
It's all in front of you.
I mean,
I think the number one problem, and I think I go on to talk about the link between HIV/AIDS and poverty, because the mothers in these poor areas of the country, they're not able to get the the drugs that would prevent this, that would save the children. And that's just that's the biggest problem. And education, you need to have I think I went in here and such a large percentage of young adults in those countries cannot tell you one way to protect themselves from, acquiring HIV/AIDS. So it's education, and education is closely tied to poverty anyway. Education, is key to, again, access to drugs. And in some cases, these rural areas, it's just the infrastructure's not there. It's just very hard to get the drugs out there, even if these people could afford them, which they can't. They're very expensive. But all it would take was, eliminating that mother-to-child transmission, and we could have an AIDS-free generation. So.
Yeah, and blood transfusions is the other factor, which is kind of huge.
Well, now they test, they test the blood. There's a way to test it for, HIV. So that's such a small percentage now. There's always a risk. But I know that I used to give blood all the time before they decided that I've lived in Europe too long and my blood's no good anymore. But that's one of the standard tests they do is HIV/AIDS. As a matter of fact, during major emergencies, you always have a large number of people that show up to give blood. And after 9/11, because I did volunteer work at the Red Cross, and there were just lines and lines of people, and there were a lot of people who got that letter in the mail. Telling them that they had HIV/AIDS.
The other thing also is illicit drug use, which,
dirty needles.
Yeah, dirty needles and stuff is actually in Central and Eastern Europe. Injected drug can continue to spread HIV among young people living on the streets. In one study in the Ukraine, high-risk behaviors, including sharing needles, were prevalent among children as young as 10 years old. That just kind of.
It sounds like it should just be impossible. That's shocking.
And that's education. Do you know what you're doing by sharing this needle with this 10-year-old?
Well, there's also something. I was actually given this video. You can actually see it on YouTube, and it is a Channel 4 news item. A guy called Bruce Lee. He's the king of the Bucharest sewers. Now, the situation you're talking about being poverty. You watch this thing. It's all of them are on drugs. Absolutely all of them. Yeah. They live in the holes in the ground in the sewer system in Bucharest. The reason why they do is because Ceausescu basically decimated all the buildings, etc., and these guys had nowhere to stay. And then obviously they were using drugs. But there are kids that are as young as 14 years old that are dependent on heroin or other types of drugs. It's a very short video. Have a look at it. It's very disturbing. You can look at it if you just type in Romania's Bruce Lee, king of the Bucharest sewers. You'll see what I mean. And it's kind of very disturbing when you look at that, because they live if the drug wasn't there, you'd think they were actually a regular person like you or me. But then when you realize what their situation is, you're like, oh my goodness, that's how they live. That's what they do. every day, and it's just kind of, it's very disturbing. Let's put it like that. Let's get to poverty for a second, because this also goes on to the poverty section of it. John, have you ever actually known anybody that has HIV? John Bierly has disappeared into the ether. Maybe the closet has clocked the door again.
No, I just actually had my microphone on mute while I was furiously typing away that link onto our Peace Fund Radio Twitter of the Bruce Lee video you just mentioned.
That's what you do on the off time, don't you? That's exactly what has to happen here. John Bierly behind the scenes. So John, I was just saying, have you ever seen anybody or know anybody that has AIDS or HIV?
Yes, I have. I have one person who had it, and it's tough. I mean, it's tough to watch someone sort of deal with all of the medical problems that come with it. I mean, it's a thing where it's a constant fight to stay on top of your own immune system, and it's a constant fight to stay healthy against an immune system that just isn't able to keep up anymore, and it's a rough thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had a friend of mine years ago, back in the I think it was late 80s, early 90s, die of the disease, of the disease, whichever one you want to call it, and it was tough to watch him, go through that whole process, and obviously tuberculosis was one of the main factors of that type of death, and obviously poverty we just mentioned despite you've got progress on prevention and treatment, it continues to undermine every aspect of human development in hard-hit countries, and that's what happens. They turn to drugs. People really just don't know where to turn around to, as well as when they're in the poorer areas. It basically sets the stage for a spread of the epidemic and illness, and it's often accompanied by stigma. It drains your health, resources, productivity within households, communities, and countries. It has a knock-on effect, what we call the domino effect here, on different things. Epidemics may begin among more well-off groups, but the impact it's shouldered by the poor and deepens existing inequalities between the middle class or the rich and the poor classes. Poverty basically decreases choices. It forces many to leave home in search of work, leaving them more vulnerable to risky behaviour. It leaves many impoverished girls and women vulnerable to exploitation, including trafficking, early marriage, and selling sex. This is also why we deal with mercy and sharing out of Haiti, because that's what they actually do. They take these girls off the streets and give them somewhere to hide or be safe from these predators, whether it is illness or whether it is a human predator of the sex trade.
And one of the other great things they do also is they have the vocational school down there where they can teach kids skills, computer skills, welding skills, whatever it is, skills to find jobs and to find work and to make their own way in the world for the first time, for what is the first time in their lives for a lot of these kids.
Right. And I think we actually need to talk. We actually haven't spoken to some of our partners on air for a while. I think it would be a good idea if we should bring them back on to find out what they're doing and how they're doing it, so you guys can see firsthand or hear firsthand from the organizations that we partner with. Obviously, we had our golf tournament in August that supported young Brandon from COTA, Children's Organ Transplant Association. And we will continue to try and help him get those life-saving operations that he needs. I mean, it was amazing. And really his situation came from a neglect from the parents, from what I understand. And I just can't understand how parents can neglect a child. I understand there are some issues, poverty being one of them, that actually can prevent somebody from believing that they can raise a child but dumping the child off in a certain area is just unacceptable. I mean, we had Kimberly Moore on the show at one point, who, when I actually went down to deliver the Peace Fund gifts for the kids in her area, where she actually introduced me to a lady who was I believe. She spoke Spanish, so I'm not sure if she was Mexican or Guatemalan, so you have to excuse me for that. But she was telling the story of how she found these kids in a house who had been living on their own. One was 2, one was 6 or 7, another one was 4 and the other one was 9. The eldest was 9. It's like 4 kids from 9 to 2 that have been living on their own in this house for about 3 months. And the parents just left them. Just said, yeah, you know what? No thanks. Done this, been there, done that. Guys, it's just not on. Just you can't leave kids to do that. I mean, put them. There are plenty of organisations out there that actually can help you, and it's an important thing to look online, or give somebody. If you see somebody that's going through that, give them some help to actually go online and find the organisations that can help them. The orphans of HIV and AIDS is defined by the. Let me just get to a point here for a second. What is an orphan? An orphan, defined by the United Nations, is a child who has lost one or both parents. We dealt with that when we dealt with Peace in Paradise. Bev and I have been going through a lot of the photos recently because we have a new, on top of all the other stuff I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we are also dealing with the new EPK and the PSAs that are going out, and we will have a lot of the information and pictures of some of the organisations and places that we've helped, and we actually happen to be going through the tsunami in 2004.
Yeah, that's an amazing video.
Yeah, it really is an amazing. We're going to have that out as well as the stuff. But we're having it on our new site. I know I've been touting our new site, but we're just not there yet. We're just not design-wise.
We're not totally happy with the design of it. So.
Yeah, we've got there. So it happens. I put out a Twitter note to a lot of designers, web designers. We are interviewing right now to sort of. We've got all the core. We just need the pizzazz and the way it looks.
And we'd like to thank our volunteers who have been inputting all the content.
Joe Jones.
Joe, Peter, Dana. Thank you all.
Yeah, they've been doing a great job doing that. I mean, and without these guys, we wouldn't be able to sort of move forward. Jo actually is working also with you, John, isn't she?
Jo is incredible. Her enthusiasm and work ethic is so inspiring. She's on top of it. So yes, thank you, Jo, for everything that you've done for really just re-energizing the work that we're doing. Also with our heroes of the week as well. So thank you, Jo.
Well, Jo has a very, very large background in non-profit, we've been she actually was helping us. We had we had an offer from a pharmaceutical company to provide vitamins to some of the organizations we can actually support. The issue we had, there are a lot of liability issues that we're not sure whether we can actually progress with this, and Jo and her team were actually very good at bringing us back. I mean, it was like a 4 or 5 page report on why, when, how, etc.
Right.
And it was so well thought out.
Awesome.
Yeah, no,
awesome.
It was so well done, and so I want to thank Jo and obviously all the other volunteers as well. I mean, there's loads of people. I know that we've got volunteers that are going to be at the Peace Fund Games when we have them. I'm sure we have volunteers already set up for the poker, but you can actually, if you want to volunteer for the Peace Fund, you can actually reach out to Camille at the Peace Fund, and she is actually the head of the volunteers, and she's the one that's actually put us in contact with so many of you who have actually joined the Peace Fund, and that's where we actually found Jo. So
yes.
There are some amazing people out there. So thank you, all of you. And then if you do want to help us, see Camille at the Peace Fund. Let's get back to the one thing I was talking about, orphans, and how children of orphans have lost one or both parents. Worldwide, it's estimated that AIDS has orphaned 17.8 million children under 18, and that will rise to 25 million by 2015. That's a rise of 7.2 million kids in another year. Another year and a half, 7.2 million other kids will be orphaned by AIDS. Every 15 seconds, an African child loses parents to AIDS. So hold on a second. Let's just hold on for that for just 1 second. You've got 15 seconds, right? So starting now, it will be. That's 5 seconds. 10 seconds. 15 seconds. An African child has just become an orphan while we were on that show.
Right. And that happens every 15 seconds, all day, every day. Unbelievable.
Around 15.1 million, or 85% of these children, live in sub-Saharan Africa. In some countries which are badly affected by the epidemic, a large percentage of all orphan children, for example, 74% in Zimbabwe and 63% in South Africa, are orphaned due to AIDS. The numbers and the stuff are very, very, sobering. And I have many more things here, but I actually want to get to the organizations making a difference. www.aidsunited.org. Their mission is to end the AIDS epidemic in the United States through national, regional, and local policy advocacy, strategic grant making, and organizational capacity building. So actually, right now, I just want to say something. I'm going to say something. Anyway, I just got a message. I'll mention that message in a minute. The www.aidsunited.org. Mustard Seed Communities, www.mustardseedcommunity.com, founded 30 years ago. It now cares for over 600 children in 14 communities throughout Jamaica, Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, and Zimbabwe. It strives to meet the growing needs of most vulnerable members of our society by improving the economic, social, and spiritual conditions of the communities they serve. Now, before we get on to the Peace Fund Hero of the Week, I want to give a little shout out to my little hero, my heroine. She's actually out in Chicago right now. Hi, Angelisa. How are you? She's listening to the show. Her mom just texted me. She's
how cute.
Hey, Angelisa, that's awesome.
So she's out there right now, listening to me. Big kiss. Love you, honey. Have a great day. I know you're going to do great. She's got a little commercial she went out for, which is fantastic, and she's very happy. And Royce says hello, honey. Anyway, John, let's get on with the hero of the week, which I'll put to you.
Yes, we have a very, very packed Hero of the Week segment this week. First of all, I wanted to mention one of our previous Heroes of the Week, Judy Adams. You can learn all about Judy on Facebook.com/Dimes for Down Syndrome by Judy Adams. Now, Judy Adams is a teenage girl with Down syndrome who collects dimes to help her mother, Kimberly Adams, who was on our show several weeks ago talking about her own efforts to make wishes come true for children with Down syndrome. Kimberly's website is giftsfromtheheartfordowns.org. Judy was recently recognized by Disney as part of their Make Your Mark series, where they had this incredible video. If you can get through it without crying, then I don't even think you're human. I just put it on the Facebook web page for the Facebook site for Peace Fund Radio. So go to facebook.com/Peace Fund Radio, and you can watch that video of Judy from the Disney Channel. It is extremely inspiring, and congratulations to Judy and her mother Kimberly for being recognized for the wonderful work that they are doing. Now, as far as some heroes who are related to today's topic, there are some incredible kids out there who are doing awesome things to bring awareness to the AIDS epidemic. Obviously, the conversation about AIDS can't be completed without mentioning Ryan White, who was a young boy from Kokomo, Indiana, who passed away on April 8th of 1990 after he contracted the AIDS virus from a blood transfusion. Ryan is behind the Ryan White Comprehensive AIDS Resources Emergency Act, also known as the Ryan White Care Act, which is the United States' largest federally funded program for people living with HIV and AIDS. It funds programs to improve the availability of care for low-income, uninsured, or underinsured victims of AIDS and their families. And as we move forward, we have three incredible young heroes who are part of the 3.Dash Summit for Global Teen Leaders that takes place every year in New York. Many of our heroes of the week over the years have attended this summit, and we've also been able to find many of our heroes by looking at some of the incredible kids who have attended over the years. The class of 2008 was particularly active with children who were working hard to raise awareness for HIV and AIDS. One such young person was Consolee Nyiragirinka, a 17-year-old from Rwanda who was among the generation of post-1994 Rwandans who were coping with the aftermath of the atrocities committed during the genocide, so much sexual violence, which spread HIV and AIDS even more. Consolee created a youth club which sought to raise awareness about HIV and AIDS, sexual violence, gender equality, human rights, reconciliation through education and the arts. One of her initiatives was actually to bring together widows of the genocide with women whose husbands were accused of participating in the genocide, to have workshops together, to make crafts, to generate income, to discuss the past, and work on healing for the future. She has done a lot of work in Rwanda, hoping to change the negative actions there and translate those things into truth, equality, tolerance, and justice. Another amazing young woman from Africa is Peggy Otengo, who was 18 at the 2008 3.Dash Summit. Peggy is from Kenya. Her community had a tendency to discriminate against women who were young or unmarried, and women and girls were denied sexual education and reproductive rights, and as a result had lots of problems with early pregnancies, early marriages, adolescent prostitution, and of course HIV, AIDS, and other sexually transmitted diseases. Peggy created something called the Okoa Wasichana program, which stands for Save Girls in Swahili, to improve the social and economic status of teenage girls by spreading information about reproductive health and sexual rights, and to empower them with life skills. So far, Peggy's program had trained 80 girls on how to be financially independent, to improve their decision-making, and to improve their health. And Peggy's ultimate goal is to one day see a Kenya where gender equality and a culture of empowered, independent women. Also at the 2008 summit was Sebastian Roberts, an 18-year-old from Canada, who supplied sports equipment to war-torn regions of East Africa to get the kids involved in something healthy and something positive. And he was also doing a lot of work with an HIV and AIDS prevention program in which he brought several international performers, athletes, fashion models, basketball players, dancers, to have this big program about safe sex education for the young people in East Africa. So those, again, are three incredible young people who were doing a lot of work. And finally, another young man who I'm actually not going to say a whole lot about this young man because we're actually trying to get him to come on the show very soon to talk about what he's done. Bilaal Rajan, who is 17 years old now and has been working for children's causes since he was only 4 years old. I mean, imagine that. Almost his entire life has been devoted to bringing awareness and attention to children's causes, including HIV and AIDS. To date, Bilaal has raised over $5 million for various causes through various fundraisers around the world. He is the world's youngest UNICEF ambassador. He has won countless awards, and he continues to work hard to bring attention to children's causes. He always says, there is only now because tomorrow isn't here yet. Now, today, is when change starts. Never ask why, but ask yourself and ask the world, why not, when it comes to helping and inspiring others. So for those incredible young people and all of the others who are out there bringing change and assistance to their fellow children, you are our Peace Fund Radio heroes of the week.
Yeah. Such a good job, this, John. I mean, really.
It's so exciting. I mean, these are young people. These are kids who, their governments, the adults in their nations struggle to find solutions to these problems, and these young kids they see right to the heart of the issue. They figure out what they can do, and they do it. They do it.
Yeah. I know, and it's actually funny. We actually went to the press conference for the Stop Tour this week, which is actually, sorry, not the Stop Tour. It was the Watering Seeds, which is an organisation that is having an event on November 11th down in Carson City regarding the paraplegic athletes and some amazing athletes, and there's going to be mixed between non-physically challenged and physically challenged athletes, and things like big athletes like basketball players, soccer players from the galaxy, and that will be put into wheelchairs and actually do things like play tennis. So it's kind of an interesting. But the thing was that a lot of different people came together regarding that organization, and it's supported by Eric Zuley and WTV. And as well as a lot of other individuals, but the whole point is like a lot of individuals don't see it. And one gentleman that I was introduced to, Travis, is so passionate about it that it's infectious. And I think that that's what kids have. They have that ability to have that passion to see through the problems. And is that John typing again? John, are you typing?
John, are you typing?
Are you typing?
I'm sorry, I'm typing. I'm putting up videos.
He's putting up videos in the middle of my dulcet tones. I can't believe that.
I am. Yes, check out twitter.com/peacefundradio to see all the videos that we have been talking about on the show. I'm sorry, Adrian.
Talking about Twitter, I'd just like to give a shout out to Nancy McClendon, our social media guru, who is just helping us with the events and the Peace Fund Radio. If you follow Peace Fund Radio Twitter, you'll see all these tweets. It must have been like 25 here.
She's awesome. She just keeps going. Yeah, tweet. And we have a little team together. We're actually looking for a few more.
We do need a few.
We need a few more. So if you really like social media, we would love you to contact Camille at the Peace Fund, because we're trying, because we want to get our poker tournament out there as well, and we need a few more avenues to actually hit regarding social media on the Peace Fund. So if you do like social media and you can help us, contact Camille at thepeacefund.org. John, do you have any other things? Well, I've only got 3 minutes left, and I've done this entire show without Ethan Dettenmaier.
And he only had 2 minutes of instruction prior to...
Yeah, it was push this button, push that button.
Push this, and he did it all right.
Hey, we did it. We did it.
I might not turn the show off yet now. I might get to the point where I turn on something else.
We're off, and we'll be talking here. And
I'll be talking about you, John, and go, forget that,
Yes.
So, John,
as always, yes, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, The Peace Fund and Peace Fund Radio. You can find us on our website, thepeacefund.org, which, as Adrian said, is in the process of being rebuilt and redone into something truly, truly, truly amazing. And if you go to our twitter.com/peacefundradio, as you could hear me typing during Adrian's speech, you can see all the videos that we mentioned on the show today, from Judy Adams, Peggy Otengo, and also the Bruce Lee video that Adrian had mentioned as well.
Okay, so so thank you to all of you out there who have made this show possible. Bev, thank you so much for joining me this morning, because otherwise I would have been talking to myself the entire time, which is probably what I do half the time anyway. And thank you to the Speechley family for making this show possible. All of you out there that are part of the Peace Fund or support the Peace Fund, again, thank you, because we cannot do this without your help. In closing, actually, John Bunyan said... he said, and you have to excuse me a second, because I'm actually also working the computer things here, because it's difficult being. It's
hard being you.
It's hard being me, but there can be only one. Anyway, thanks to the Speechley family again. John Bunyan said, "You have not lived until you have done something for someone who can never repay you." This is Adrian Paul and Bev Shihara this week. We want to see you, but we'll be back next week. I'll see you soon.
You're listening to Peace Fund with Ethan Dettenmaier and Adrian Paul, right here on LA Talk Radio.